All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 9th, 2023 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Well, we've got a full crowd this morning. It's good to see. Do introductions. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board this year. To my left is Vice President, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. Our Deputy Administrators, Eric Hostetler and Dawn Houston, are at this table, and our County Administrator, Tracy Davies, is in the audience. Our clerks today are Jennifer Walraven and Allie Glusich. And Jennifer, we can begin.
Resolution number 23-846, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held October 2nd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 23-846. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do have people who have signed up for public comment today, but we will be addressing those under item number 5. Item number 3, resolution number 23-847, in the matter of approving purchase orders and announce certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 1006.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 23-847. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-848, in the matter of acknowledging receipt of annexation application, domestic violence application funds for 2024, estimating the amount of funds anticipated and allocating the same to qualified applicants, all pursuant to Chapter 311 of Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-848. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the granting of the annexation petition of 230.7 acres of land in the Township of Brown and the Township of Delaware to the City of Delaware.
So
Mr.
moved.
Benton?
We're going to, at this point, we're going to pause and open it up for public comment.
Okay.
And we have 6 speakers apparently that are going to speak, 3 for and 3 against. But before we do that, I wanted to just go through just review what an expedited Type 2 annexation petition involves and our role in it, because I'm sure there's some confusion out there. So I'll read through the instructions that summarize what we'll do today, just to make sure it hopefully clarifies it. Pursuant to Section 709.023E of the Revised Code, if an objection to an expedited Type 2 annexation petition is timely filed with the Board of County Commissioners, the Board shall review the petition to determine if each of the following conditions has been met. 1, the petition meets all requirements set forth in and was filed in the manner provided in Section 709.021 of the Revised Code. 2, the persons who signed the petition are owners of the real estate located in the territory proposed for annexation and constitute all of the owners of real estate in that territory. 3, the territory is proposed for annexation does not exceed 500 acres. 4, the territory proposed for annexation shares a contiguous boundary with the municipal corporation to which annexation is proposed for continuous length of at least 5% of the perimeter of the territory proposed for annexation. 5, the annexation will not create an unincorporated area of the township that is completely surrounded by the territory proposed for annexation. 6, the municipal corporation to which annexation is proposed has agreed to provide to the territory proposed for annexation the services specified in the relevant ordinance or resolution adopted under Division C of this section. 7, if a street or highway will be divided or segmented by the boundary line between the township and the municipal corporation as to create a road maintenance problem, the municipal corporation to which annexation is proposed has agreed as a condition of the annexation to assume the maintenance of that street or highway or to otherwise correct the problem as used in this section. Street or highway has the same meaning as in Section 4511.01 of the Revised Code. Okay, now, it's important to understand this process is an administrative review, not a public hearing. Therefore, no testimony will be taken and no evidence will be presented. However, interested parties were advised of the date of this review and were given an opportunity to submit any additional comments in writing and/or appear at this meeting to provide public comments. The review is limited to the conditions stated in Section 709.023E of the revised code, and the board's determination of whether all conditions have been met that will be based on a review of the petition as submitted, along with other documents submitted in accordance with Section 709.023, including the municipal corporation services resolution or ordinance and the resolutions or ordinances stating objections to the proposed annexation. So that's where we're going. I think it's important to understand it's not a hearing, we're going to, our public comment speaking rules allow for 3 individuals to speak on either side of the issue, and at this point, we do have 6 registered, 3 for, and 3 against, and they are limited to 3 minutes apiece. So with that, I think we can open it up for.
Yes, we did receive 2 writings, just for the record, you did receive a writing for County Skinner, Brown Township trustee, and the city of Delaware.
Yes. Okay. So Jennifer keeps this all straight. This is complicated stuff, and she does a great job of making sure we follow the rules we're supposed to. And then also on hand, I just want to point out Eric Hostetler, the county's attorney and general counsel and deputy administrator, is here to provide legal advice as well, or legal input. With that, I will open it up. Do we go for and then against, or against and for?
Would you like
Yes.
to conduct your review and then take a comment, or do you want to take comments and then conduct your review? The review of the conditions might focus the comments, that's why, it's up to you.
If the review would be reviewing each of the 7 conditions?
Correct.
Yeah, if you could do that. Can you
Sure.
do that, Eric?
Yeah, and we can just take them one at a time.
Sure. I think that would help.
Yeah, so the condition 1 of the petition meets all of the statutory requirements. A review of that, I don't think that there's any concern about the statutory requirements being met. Trustee Skinner, in her written comments, did raise an issue about the notice, that the statute requires that those notices be served personally on the fiscal officers for the townships. But since objections were filed in a timely manner by both townships, I think it's safe to say that they actually received notice. And there is a statute, 709.015, that refers to substantial compliance with procedural requirements or sufficient. And this, I think, falls under that category where the procedural requirements about notice, there was substantial compliance there to address that concern. Especially since it was clear that they did receive notice and filed timely objections. The other issues that Trustee Skinner raised in her written testimony are not factors that the board can consider. So you can read those, you can consider them for what they're worth, but they don't fall under any of the statutory conditions. The next condition number 2 is that persons who signed the petition are owners. That's not in dispute either. This was a one-owner petition. Ms. Grove is trustee of the trust that owns the property. There's condition 3, which is the size limitation of 500 acres. The acreage is 230.7, so that condition is met. Condition number 4, the contiguity requirement. The contiguity requirement was calculated at 25%, so that condition is met. The annexation will not create an unincorporated area of the township that is completely surrounded by the territory proposed for annexation. This is a single parcel with no islands of territory within it, so that condition is met. Municipal corporation to which annexation is proposed has agreed to provide to the territory proposed for annexation the services specified in the relevant ordinance or resolution adopted under Division C. City of Delaware's services resolution was submitted. It's before you as part of the record. So that condition is met. And condition number 7, if a street or highway will be divided or segmented. Now, there is a division of 521 that will result, or that will be a result of this annexation. If you look at the map, it's a little hard to see, but in the southwest corner, there are a couple of residential parcels. On the map, it's kind of next to where that hexagon with the letter B in it. You can see those residential parcels right there on the south side of 521. Subdivision plat, when that subdivision was created, dedicated the road right-of-way for 521 to the center line. And so as a result of this annexation, taking into consideration the county's annexation from back in August of the Bixby campus, there will be a half of 521 that will be divided. And that creates a road maintenance problem that the statute requires that the city either agree to maintain the street in question or to otherwise correct the problem. And the case that we use for analyzing that question was decided by the Supreme Court in 2020. In that case, it was Xenia v. Greene County Board of Commissioners. The city's services resolution or ordinance kind of just parroted that statutory language, said that they would otherwise correct the problem. There's a similar situation where there was a question about having jurisdiction to maintain the road after the annexation. And we have a letter from city manager stating that they don't have jurisdiction that ODOT would have jurisdiction over that remaining divided portion of 521. And then a statement that there will be no road maintenance problem. On my review of the conditions, I disagree. I think that there is a road maintenance problem, that the city is obligated to either maintain that road or state that they will otherwise correct the problem. So those are all of the factors. Happy to answer any questions, and then we can hear any public comment that there might be on those issues.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Very, very good research and synopsis, Eric.
Yeah, just a
Commissioner
question
Lewis.
on 2. That condition is met, Eric, did you say? That was the persons who signed the petition are owners of the real estate.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Other comments?
No other.
Anything else?
Not this time.
Okay. Yeah, again, Eric, thank you for the research and the commentary on each of the items. So it does appear on our council's research that there is a concern with issue 7. So at this point, we will open it up. Eric, is that the good to go testimony? Or,
Yeah, unless
it's
you
not
have any
testimony,
questions
it's
for
public
me.
comments.
Unless you have any other questions.
No.
you can-
Well,
Aye.
I do maybe have a question. Regarding number 7, what, in your view, should the language say?
So the case, which is, I mean, that's all I rely on is that case. It's directly on point. And in that case, the resolution or ordinance from the municipal corporation specifically stated the statutory language that they would otherwise correct the problem. That was really the language that we would have been looking for here. Ideally, that segment would have been included, or that divided portion would have been included in the annexation. Since it's a dedicated road right-of-way, the state does not count as an owner for purposes of the statute, so they wouldn't have required to get the state's signature on it. They could have just included it. That would have been one way. The other way would have been if it's left out, that the city would say that they would maintain it. But as in the Xenia case, there was a question of jurisdiction, whether they actually could do that. I think that's what the city manager's letter states, is that they don't have jurisdiction over that. That's ODOT's. And I think that's correct, looking at the road maintenance statutes. But the alternative language in the annexation statute says, or otherwise correct the problem. And otherwise correcting the problem could mean having an agreement with ODOT to maintain that, or really anything. We take the city's statements in their ordinance at face value. That's what the Supreme Court case dictates to us, is that we take it at face value. So that other language, the otherwise correct the problem would have been what we were looking for with this annexation as filed.
Okay. I guess maybe to summarize, Eric, the first 6 items really
I
not
don't
in
see any
dispute.
concerns. I mean, we might hear from, I mean, one of the objections filed was specifically on number 6, and so we might hear some public comment, and if you have other questions after we hear that, we can talk about them.
Okay. And then obviously the concern, number 7 that we talked about. Okay, so, any other comments, Eric, Commissioner Merrill? Commissioner Lewis?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. All right, we will proceed with comments against the petition. And again, these are public comments, not testimony, sworn testimony. So, again, I've got 2 forms, public
If
comment.
one of the ladies in the front row wishes to fill out a form, I thought one of them was going to fill out a form, but they did not, so.
I'm sorry, what, Jennifer, did you say?
One of the ladies in the front row was going to fill out a form, but she did not give me one, so.
Okay, so we have 2 against, and then we have a letter that we received, testimony, written.
I mean, just written comments, and I tried to address those in my review, because really, it's a lot of factors that are not statutory. This is not a traditional annexation where the board has discretion. You have to follow the statute. So
Right.
you can't take into consideration the benefits of the land remaining in the township, or concerns about whether 521 needs to be widened. Those might all be valid concerns, or questions about whether this annexation is appropriate. But in expedited annexation, you have to follow the statutory criteria only. You can't take into consideration other issues. So the bulk of Trustee Skinner's written comments, while potentially valid, don't fit within the statutory review process.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's an important consideration, is that we are limited by a Ohio Revised Code in terms of what we can find an objection to granting this, or approving this petition. And those are those 7 items that Eric has done great research on and presented very well. Okay, we will open it up then to 2 comments, public comments. I'll start with Philip Taraski. If you want to just come on up and identify yourself and where you live, and again, 3 minutes, no question and answer, no swearing in, you're on your own.
No problem, sir. Yes, my name is Philip Taraska, address 2257 State Route 521. Lived in Brown Township now for approximately 3 years, 16 and a half years in the military, active duty with the Army, still in right now. Understood that some of this is more procedural, but have 6 kids, and the road issue is a concern right there that you addressed in number 7 in terms of who's going to be taking care of that road there. I've seen the traffic continually increase and increase more and more over the last few years. That's a concern for my children and my wife and I. I could make some other comments in terms of, unchecked expansion, if you will. I'll leave that out because I understand you're not going to be voting on that. But I rise against it today for the reason mainly in number 7 there. Who is going to be taking care of this road, and the second and third order effects of who is taking care of this road as we look at the traffic issue. I know it's not directly what you're voting on, but Delaware has a traffic issue, a serious issue. And my concern about the road here at this point in time is it's only going to expand that issue even further and create these second and third order effects, making it more dangerous for children and pedestrians, etc. So I thank you for your time today, and again, rise against this annexation. Thank you.
By the way, thank you for your service.
Yes, of course.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Taraska, we'll go on to Chris Reinhardt. Couldn't quite read the, I'm sorry, what?
She asked if, yeah, she asked.
I think we've passed the deadline for,
Well, anybody can submit a form up until the call for the vote.
Oh, okay.
So she's fine to submit a form, but you take the first three in the order that they're submitted.
Okay, well, we only have two,
Okay, then yes.
so. She can fill out the form if you want to speak then.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the commission. Chris Reinhardt, Reinhardt Legal Services. I'm an attorney who has actually worked on annexation issues in the past and also a resident of Brown Township. I'll try to be within the 3 minutes, so I don't have too much to quibble with respect to Mr. Hostetler's review. Although I think with respect to E1, I do quibble a little bit with Eric's review of that because I think 709015 applies to you as a board in terms of procedural deficiencies, and actually has a statement in there that it requires you to cure those deficiencies before you accept or deny an annexation. So it doesn't specifically address the petitioner's compliance with the filing requirements and the procedural requirements, which is mandated by E1. So the fact that the petitioner failed to properly serve all three parties that are required to be notified in addition to the board, that being the two townships and the city, I think that's a violation of E1. And then the other issue of concern is E6. I totally concur with Eric's assessment of that issue as he's presented it to you. I think I just had 2 or 3 additional concerns. Not sure whether Eric can identify whether he thinks those are relevant or not, but one is the city has indicated that they would provide water and sewer service upon the date of annexation, which would be within, if they accept it, would be within 60 days of your approval. And I think we're all well aware that the city cannot provide water and sewer service to that property within 60 days. And then the second issue relates to the road maintenance issue. This petition is being driven by a proposed development by Metro Development, Wilcox Communities, among others. It proposes an extension of Bixby Parkway to the west. That total cost, as I understand, that road is not even, it's under design by the county. It's not even finalized. We don't even know where the road's going to go. And the questions that come out of that is that as of today, even if the city were to agree to maintain the roads, Bixby Parkway is not shown as part of the petition for annexation. So from a legal perspective, I would argue that they wouldn't technically have to agree to maintain that road if it is built after the date that you approved the annexation, because it wasn't part of that annexation. So that's an open question as to who's going to maintain the extension of Bixby Parkway. Another question I had is who's going to pay for it? Because my understanding is that Bixby Parkway is to be extended to State Route 23 through 5 phases. This is phase 2. Phase 2, I think, is estimated to be a cost of somewhere between $5 and $15 million. And the question I would have is the county going to pay for a road that's going to be completely within the jurisdiction of the city of Delaware and benefit principally the residents of the city of Delaware? So I'll take that bell as an indication that I'm supposed to stop. So
That's
anyway.
yeah. Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt.
Want me to address those now, or do you want to get your other comments?
We'll wait till the end and get all the comments. Okay, we did have a form filled out for Mrs. Sylvia Julia. You said it a whole lot better than I did. If you want to come on up to the microphone, and again, identify yourself and your where you live, and we'll let you. We'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Sylvia DiGiulio. I live at 816 Brittany Drive. I've lived there for 23 years. I retired from the Attorney General's office for the state of Ohio. I enjoyed 20 years of serenity there, peacefulness. Then they built Old Colony behind us. We went through hell when they were building with the dust factor, the mud factor, the noise of the equipment, and then, worst of all, the increase in traffic flow in our neighborhood. So it's really bad. We had to fight for a traffic light at 3637 and 521 to get them to put it in a year ahead of time because we couldn't get out. Traffic was so bad then. So now we're talking about apartments in there and ranch apartments. I don't think we can accommodate the traffic because it's already bad on 3637, and they're thinking about taking Bixby and making it come out on 3637. It's horrible there. We have a terrific traffic problem, and now we're talking about 360 units in a high-rise apartment building, and we're talking about a whole bunch more in ranch apartments besides a residential area. We don't want apartments, period. If you want to put homes in there, that's fine. But we're talking like, I don't know, 2,000 cars increasing in there. Where are they going to go? It's a problem that has to be really researched and thought about because I know money is going here. And it says a lot to who builds and who doesn't build. But please, we just don't need apartments in there. Also, there's a tax problem. Property taxes are going up this coming year. And then, if the developers don't pay anything, we're going to get hit again. Our school systems are overloaded. They're going to have to split up Delaware City Schools with Buckeye Valley, and they're not real happy about it either. So what are we going to do, folks? These are bad times. These are really bad times. We can barely afford the property taxes. Now, if we get hit with more taxes, there's going to be no end to it. I just don't think it's in the best interest of the people of Delaware to bombard us with apartments. If they want to go out a little further, fine, but let's not mess up Kensington. It's always been a nice area, quiet, and that's going to be undone. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, that is the three speakers against the petition. I will now open it up to the three speakers in favor of the petition. And we've got three that signed up to speak in public comment for. I'll start with Tom Homan, City of Delaware.
Tom Homan, City Manager, Delaware. I'm here today in regards to the petition, just to clarify the resolution of services. I sent a letter on Friday, which Eric referenced. If we need to clarify that as to the maintenance responsibility, we will. And we can do that through another resolution of services if that's necessary, or whatever the county would recommend. But we would have to work with ODOT as to that one section of 521 that would technically still be state right-of-way, but we can do that. So, and I'm prepared to provide what you would need in that regard. In addition, we have our deputy city engineer here today, Jonathan Owen. He signed up to speak. He can clarify how that would work, but I'm here today to just clarify what we provided you on Friday in connection with resolution of services. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. All right, next speaker is Jonathan Owen.
Commissioners, Jonathan Owen with the City of Delaware. As Tom said, I'm our Deputy City Engineer. My address is 5816 North Galena Road, Sunbury, Ohio, personal address. As to the question about item 7 with road maintenance, as City Manager mentioned, we will do whatever the county would desire to clarify the remaining portion outside the city being a state highway right-of-way. And per the normal ORC and Department of Transportation policies, that would remain the state's responsibility for road maintenance as it relates to paving and so forth. Now, the city would enter into an agreement for snow and ice removal and maintenance of that portion. And that's all I have to add. Thanks.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, next is Gary Doda.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm a resident.
If you could, again, we're recording this, and so if you could identify yourself and your address.
Gary Doda. I'm a resident of Kensington. And let's face it, the truth of the matter is this is either going to get annexed or it's not going to get annexed. One of the two is going to occur. I'm under the assumption, I'm not for or against. If I had my way, I'd like to see the field stay the way it is. I doubt that that's going to happen. The property's too valuable. We've had meetings with the people from the developer and the builder and the owners. The comment was made that they were going to pay for building the road, Bixby, up to their development so that they could open 2 entrances coming off of Bixby. For the people of Kensington, the 500 homes that are already in there, we're all going to have to suffer with dust and mud and this, that, and the other. What I'm most concerned about is if you look at the picture of this development, it looks like a letter D. There's 2 roads that are coming in, connecting to the roads into our development. We don't need those 760 cars from these 360 homes. These people are going to end up on the apartment building going out on 521. But these people should have to go out onto Bixby and then down. Not bring construction traffic through here, because once this is annexed, the city of Delaware has got 3 guardrails that have signs on them that said, future development. We understand that. All we're asking is that you leave those guardrails alone till the development is almost done. Not to open them up once they're allowed to start building and all that construction traffic comes up through the main drag coming up is Ashburn. It's already got people parked on both sides of the street because it's 4 lanes wide. But I have 4 grandchildren that play in that development. There's probably another 500 to 1,000 kids in there already that are on bikes, that are on the streets. We don't want the construction traffic to be allowed to come up Ashburn, make a right-hand turn on Wallace Drive or a right-hand turn on Brittany. We want them to use their own construction entrances. And if they say that they're going to pay to build Bixby up to their development, once it's annexed, that they have to use those 2 entrances for all of their traffic till the development is finished. We already have an issue with the 500 houses in here. You can only go 2 ways out. You add another 760 cars to that because this is designed to bring the traffic in this way. You have to, obviously you got to do streets and sewers before you do anything else, which means you got to have this street finished before you can come in from that side. All we're asking the county commissioners is, please do not take those guardrails down. Once the city annexes it, they have the right to do it. We're saying, please don't do that to us. And that's my comment. Safety of the children and the additional 1,000 cars of traffic that we would like to see, for the most part, stay out of the current development that's supporting 1,000 cars already. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, that's the end of the public comments. Eric, your thoughts on comments that have been raised? I had a couple questions on one of the topics.
Sure, I'll give you my reactions and then happy to answer any questions that might come up. First, I just want to reiterate that other issues that are not within those statutory factors are not things that you can consider when you're conducting your review. Some issues that I heard raised, taxes, traffic, development details, impacts on schools, land use considerations, any of those are not within the statutory factors that you can consider. Going back to Mr. Reinhardt's comments, factor E1 specifically cites to 709.021. And 709.021 then refers to 709.02. So that creates the list of procedural requirements that need to be met. The notice provision is not in 709.021 or 709.02. It's actually in 709.023. So all of that to say that the notice requirement itself is not a condition that you're to determine when you're conducting your review. So that's a jurisdictional procedural issue. I think it falls squarely within it. And had townships not actually received notice and had an opportunity to object, that would have been a concern. But since the two townships impacted actually did file timely objections, I think that that's a moot point. Moving on to E6, the services resolution is due a presumption of validity, and we take the language in the services resolution at face value. I think the Supreme Court has pretty clearly directed us to not get into speculation about whether something can actually be done, which I believe was the concern about water and sewer. Can it actually be done? The Supreme Court in that Xenia v. Greene County Board of Commissioners case specifically said that the county is not to engage in arguments that are speculative, even if true. They fail to establish a genuine issue of material fact. That's a direct statement on that point from the court, that we're not to engage in speculation about whether the statements in the services resolution can actually be held to. So that's how I review E6. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about that. With respect to the seventh condition, my review and my advice to the board does not have any bearing, it has no bearing from the Bixby Parkway project.
Yeah, that was a question I had.
The portion of Bixby Parkway that has already been annexed is entirely within the city of Delaware, and they have a maintenance obligation for that road. And that actually comes from a couple of places. For the board, the most important of which is we actually have an agreement with the city of Delaware about maintenance of that road once it's constructed. So I'm not concerned about Bixby Parkway. My comments about the seventh condition were strictly about that divided portion of 521.
Okay.
The one other note that I put down that I think is sometimes lost when we have these discussions is that the Supreme Court has also indicated that annexation is a private property right. You know, the person who filed this petition owns that property, and they have the right to determine whether they want to annex or not. As long as they meet the conditions, that's it.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. Any other comments?
No, I would just go back to what the city manager mentioned. You know, this review is required to be conducted within 30 and 45 days. I don't know where we are on that timeline, whether you have time to continue your review to a later date to where they can further clarify their services resolution, but you would be able to do that if you wanted to, as long as we have time. You have to conduct your review within 30 to 45 days.
We have to make our decision within 45 days.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
The 15th of October is the 45 days.
18th would be
That's next
15th.
Sunday.
Did you say the 15th?
Yes.
15th is Sunday.
next Sunday?
Yeah.
That's, so you would have until next Monday, because it goes to
Because
the
it's
next
on.
day, yes.
Comments?
I guess I'll go first. My observations, first of all, there's a lot of empathy and sympathy with a lot of things I heard today, but as you heard, we have guardrails that we have to stay within. So I would encourage Gary, I don't know if it's Gary or Eric. I'm sorry? Garrett? Well, it was kind of in between there, wasn't it? I would encourage you to have that conversation with the city, just as a side note. As I wrote down all these issues, and I think Eric sums it up pretty well, that's not an issue we get in a position to comment on. I would have a problem doing anything till we get clarification from the city, and we are on a timeline of a week. So I would not be willing to do anything today until that clarification to the satisfaction of the commissioners and our council. So at a minimum, I would want to wait till next Monday before anything final being done on this. And these are always challenging for us as commissioners when we have to follow the rules that are laid out, and I think most of you understand that. It's frustrating sometimes, but it's also done for good reasons. And landowners' rights, I think we all understand the value of those and why those are important. So those are my comments. And
You raised a good question. Eric, since the 15th is a Sunday, does that give us the
You
following?
go to the next
Next-
day that is not a Sunday or a holiday, yes.
Okay, so we could
next Monday.
continue it and make
You would have to make your decision, complete your review by Monday.
by Monday. Okay, yeah, that's a better way of saying it. Commissioner Lewis?
I guess, Eric, could you further explain the seventh condition? I guess I'm a little, I understand, I guess the ODOT has a right-of-way,
So,
and therefore the city of Delaware doesn't have, yeah, go ahead, I'll let you.
so the condition starts with a statement of if. And so you don't even get to the second part unless the if part is true.
Okay.
So if a street or highway will be divided or segmented by the boundary line after the annexation. This is a case where set 521 was not annexed at all past that current boundary, if you look at your map. But once the county did their annexation, all of 521 was taken in when you combine it with this annexation. So there's just a small overlap where the lines don't meet because the county's property line does not match up with the western property line of the Grove property. So you just have that small, I'm not even sure how many feet it is, where along the center line, that southeastern portion of 521 will still be outside of
Okay.
the city. And so, from a statutory standpoint, the city is required to maintain state highways within their city limits.
Okay,
Outside, it's ODOT. And so ODOT would be responsible for, several feet of half of 521. So the if part of, is there a division or a segment? In my opinion, there's a division of 521 as a result of this annexation, just for that small segment there.
okay.
Then the next part is such to create a road maintenance problem. I think our concern is that anytime you have a division or a segment, it could potentially create a road maintenance problem that needs to be addressed. When you have multiple jurisdiction that would need to coordinate for any type of pavement repairs or anything like that, who would go out and repair a pothole? Think just general. So it's enough that I think triggers the concern that there might be a road maintenance problem. So then it goes to the heart of the matter, and the condition is, how is it going to be addressed? And the statute says either the city needs to agree to maintain that road or street, or otherwise correct the problem. So the or otherwise correct the problem is the part that I think is missing here, because they have adequately described that, yeah, that is split jurisdiction. City will maintain the part that's in the city, ODOT would have to maintain the other part. Okay, well, how's that actually gonna work? Otherwise correct the problem. Agreements, whatever it might be. We don't have to get into that level of detail. We need the city to tell us that they're going to address it. Formally, not via public comment.
Right.
Is it your recommendation then, Eric, that because of, until we get that ironed out, then that we would pass right now and wait and get some clarification from the city?
I am always happy to review these petitions and give you my advice, but ultimately it's your decision.
Sure.
So if it's whether the board thinks that you're ready, or you do have time built into this
Okay.
process where if you want to get additional clarification. I'm going to just give my honest opinion of the services resolution. I thought it was ambiguous. It just says that the road maintenance is one of the services that will be provided. Well, what does that actually mean? I think city manager's letter took one step towards clarifying any
Okay.
ambiguity. I think we need just a little bit more. That's my recommendation. And since you have time, Why not
Okay.
try to get that additional clarification? The alternative, if we took action today and you don't think that condition is met, you'd be denying it. And I think that would be maybe the correct decision with what information you have in front of you right now. But that would mean likely that you just have to refile the annexation and either include that piece or the city would change its services resolution. It just kind of extends the inevitable. If it can be clarified in the 1 week that we have left, why not do it that way and save everybody that extra time and expense?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's where I am is.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the clarification isn't quite far enough, and we need to get further clarification, and we do have, I guess, a week to do that. I don't know, Tom, do you think you could, again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No, I think we can
Work
work
with
with that
Eric and-
timeline.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's where I am, is if I had to decide today, I would object because I don't think 7 is clearly met. But if we can, how do we go another week, Eric? Do we have to formally, or do we just bring up the review, or bring up the resolutions next Monday?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And this is not a public hearing, so no notice needs to be given. It'll just be on your agenda Thursday or Monday,
Yeah, I guess
whichever
we could
one.
do it
Thursday or
Thursday.
Monday.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's true. We have session
Okay.
Thursday. so.
And opportunity for people to sign up for public comment.
Right,
Come in and
again.
speak again, that's fine. Always, public comment rules allow for that each time you have an agenda item to, have up to 6 speakers come in and talk about it. So same
Okay.
thing would apply, but no notice requirements or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess that's where I am.
Now I'm
Commissioner
fine
Lewis,
with that.
Commissioner Merrill? Okay. Jennifer, I think
All
we'll
right.
move on
Item number 6.
from, and not do either the affirmation or the objection.
We are on page 430.
Yep.
Resolution number 23-849, in the matter of appointing Delaware County representatives to the Regional Council of Government for the Central Ohio Interoperability Radio System.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, welcome.
Hi, good morning. Lauren Yancanon, Director of Emergency Communications. As you know, since 2013, Delaware County has been part of the Central Ohio Interoperable Radio System, Regional Council of Governments. And according to the bylaws, each member agency must have a representative on the governing board. So the bylaws state that the member is the highest ranking employee of that member agency or their designee. So in our case, that'll be County Administrator Tracy Davies. For several years, dating back to his time as a deputy county administrator, it was Mr. Cy Keeley who was fulfilling that role. And of course, we're all grateful for his time serving both the Course Board and the county in that way. But the resolution before you will appoint County Administrator Davies to the representative role for Delaware County. We've had several changes to the Course Board recently with a retirement, resignations, and some things like that. So it's a really natural time to go ahead and transition to a new representative for Delaware County as well. And I can take any questions you may have.
Okay. Questions, comments? Vote, Jennifer?
Vote on motion 23-849. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Lauren.
Lauren.
Resolution number 23-850, in the matter of approving the use of a procurement card for the Emergency Communications Department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Justin Navi, Director of Finance. This request has been submitted just to issue a new P card to the new 911 Director. The monthly and daily spend limits on this card would mirror the previous Director of the Department.
Okay. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-850. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-851, in the matter of approving supplemental appropriations, a revenue estimate revision, and a transfer of cash.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Thanks, Commissioners. This second request is for supplemental and a transfer of funds, and this is for the placement of replacement of 2 ambulances for the EMS department. This is an advanced order, so by placing the PO now, we can log in the cost of the vehicles, which would be delivered in 2022.
Okay. Discussion. I know these are replacement units, and we continue to put miles on our older fleet. We need to keep buying new ones and replacing older ones. Jennifer, vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-851. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-852. In the resolution of necessity for the purchase of motor vehicles for the use of the Delaware County Emergency Medical Services Department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Thanks, Commissioners. This is just authorizing the purchase of the 2 replacement ambulances.
Okay. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-852. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-853, in the matter of authorizing the submitting of an application for the Healthy Aging Grant through the Ohio Department of Aging.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Thanks, Commissioners. This final request, it would authorize county administration to apply for this grant through the state of Ohio. The award amount is an estimated $295,000, and we'll be partnering with SourcePoint in administering the grant.
Okay.
And I believe we're on a deadline this week
Yeah.
to file.
Yeah, I know they're working with
Are we losing?
SourcePoint to work out the details and so on, but we have to make the application this week, so again, appreciate the flexibility in getting this in. Jennifer?
Vote on motion 23-853. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Justin.
Resolution number 23-854, in the matter of establishing the 2024 Health, Dental, and Vision Insurance Employee Cost Share and establishing a surcharge for spousal health insurance coverage.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dawn Houston, Deputy Administrator, and I am recommending your approval of this resolution today that would establish the employee rate share for health insurance benefits and vision and dental insurance benefits for 2024. This resolution breaks down the rates by wellness program completers, non-completers, and the neutral rate. Employees will continue to contribute 12.5% toward the cost of the health insurance and prescription drug coverage. And these rates reflect an 8% overall increase from SEBCO for 2024. As the title of the resolution indicated, there will be a spousal surcharge again next year. That spousal surcharge will actually increase to $62.50 per pay for a total of $125 per month for spouses that are continuing on the plan that are not eligible for a waiver. And spousal surcharge waivers would be in place if an employee and the spouse does not have health insurance coverage available through an employer or a former employer if retired, and the covered spouse is employed by Delaware County, or if the covered spouse is employed by Delaware County. Again, the vision and dental rates will be at a 50% cost share, with the county picking up 50% of the cost of those benefits. Plan designs remain the same for all coverages for next year. We have open enrollment set to take place October 16th through the 27th, and then there will be open enrollment meetings that will take place on the 18th and the 19th of October. So if an employee would like to learn more about their health insurance benefits, they could certainly participate in one of those meetings that will take place at various locations around the county. There are cost-saving measures that employees can certainly take advantage of to assist with their out-of-pocket expenses, including participation in the Garner program by selecting top physicians in our area, and they can earn up to $2,000 in reimbursements for themselves and a covered spouse if they are participating in that. They could consider also a flexible spending account for set-aside pre-tax dollars for healthcare and childcare-related expenses, and then also finally participating in the wellness program. By doing that, employees do see better rates and contributions for their health insurance expenses. And next year, we will have more information to come, but there will be a rewards redemption program through Anthem for participating in the wellness program. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
I don't have any questions, just have some comments.
Go right ahead.
You know, a lot of time we spend on trying to put together a package for the benefit of our employees, and 12.5% contribution of employees is, let's say, very, very attractive in this world today. And but we want to make sure our employees are taken care of, and I think we all feel strongly about that. The wellness program, my wife over the weekend said, I haven't seen the stuff, I'm getting ready to get some blood tests. And I said, well, the program's going to change a little bit, so I told her, just be patient. So, and I would say that to employees, be patient, there's going to be some changes in how it's implemented, correct?
Yes, there will be changes, but there will also be a look-back period to August of this year, just like we have in the past.
So she can get her blood test and then
Absolutely.
it'll cover. But
Yes.
the flexible program, I would encourage everyone to look at that. Those are dollars that really pre-tax dollars that really can go a long ways towards supplementing those unexpected costs. And there's pretty much a lot of flexibility in how those dollars are used today. So please, as you research this and get more information, look into that as you get ready to check the boxes on what you're going to participate in next year. Commissioner Benton is on the SEPCO board, and I know he worked really, really hard to keep the rate as attractive as possible. 8% is, it's really on all of us, because how much we use our medical determines what our rates are going to be. So we all owe it to the program to find ways to be as pragmatic and efficient as possible, because it benefits what the rate ultimately is going to be. So we all play a role in that, so please keep that in mind. And health insurance in our county, we take this very seriously. We value the employees, and we want it to be as attractive a program as possible, but also recognize we represent the taxpayers in this county as well. So those are my comments and my thoughts.
I'd just like to thank Dawn and Eric and Tracy for their work on this, and Commissioner Benton, too, being on the SEPCO board really helps us. And this is an excellent plan. I would urge, too, that, as Commissioner Merrill mentioned, participate in the wellness program. And it's a very, very easy. We made it even easier last year from before, so that also will be very easy this year. Very, very little that you have to do to actually fulfill your requirements in this program. So please do it. You're going to save some money by doing it.
Right. Yeah, SEPCO is very aware that the previous one for managing the wellness was a challenge, and then they're going a different direction, and hopefully it'll be a lot easier and smoother, and just better app to use. So again, tough challenge. Healthcare costs continue to go up above the general rate of inflation. The counties that participate, I think there's 47 now, we just added another one at SEPCO. There's a range of 0 to 13%, and the 13% was capped. There were a number that were well above 13% in terms of the increase. We were at 8. We were just pretty much in the middle, maybe a little above middle. But again, it's a huge cost to the county, but it's a very, very important benefit, and we do spend a lot of time on it. Dawn, thank you for all you do, and Tracy and everybody. But again, big challenge, and I don't think it's going to get better in the short run. There's a lot of things, again, the employees can do, garner, the wellness program, other things that they can do, just managing the expense. But again, these are macro level strategies that will impact us for years to come. So anyway, we've done the best I think we could, to manage to be responsible to the taxpayers and appreciative of the employees, and I think that's where we are, so let's take a vote. Jennifer?
Vote on motion 23-854. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy Davies, County Administrator. I would like to ask our Communications Director to come up and briefly give an overview of a broadband survey that went out to the community. Jane?
Great.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. We thought it'd be wise, since we're asking you to help us promote and share information about the broadband survey that we launched last week on October 4th. It's part of our study looking at, which Eric Hochstetler has been spearheading, sort of defining the state of broadband services, internet services that people have access to, generally in their homes, but also in businesses, using their desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones, and to get a handle on where there are gaps in service. We learned during the last U.S. Census that there are what they call internet deserts in the county, primarily in a lot of the township areas and precincts from the census in the northern part of the county, where as many as nearly 20% of households may not have access to reliable service or affordable service, or any service, as the case may be. So the survey, in working with the vendors that we've contracted with, Ice Miller Whiteboard, which is a consulting firm based in Columbus, and then Lit Communities, which is another consultant that works with them as part of this, they designed a survey that, and it's very brief, it only takes about 3 to 5 minutes, ironically, based on the speed of your connection to the internet. But that's what we're trying to get at. Is sort of just finding out, how do people access internet or broadband services? What are they paying for it right now? What do they think is a reasonable cost? And then the last part of it is what they call a speed test, where you basically you click it, it goes, and what it does is it measures how quickly data is uploaded and then how quickly it's downloaded. And that tells them a lot about the quality of the service that they may be receiving. So we've pushed it out already. The vendors have determined that basically to get solid results, we need at least 385 responses. As of Friday morning, we had 65, and they were thrilled with that. So we're in good shape, but every little bit helps. And we've reached out to a number of agencies, including SourcePoint. They've been very good about sharing the information with their people, because seniors are really an important demographic that oftentimes are underserved by access to the internet. So, but anything you can do to help. I've provided you with the links, but if you ever, are in a situation where you need it, just text or email me, and I can get it to you again to share with somebody. So, and if you have any questions,
I have a comment. This is something we've talked about for a number of years, and I would encourage, the assumption, and I think valid assumption, is the northern part of our county, the deserts you're talking about. So I would encourage those in the room that represent the rural areas of our county, get the word out, get it out, and make sure they respond to the survey.
Yeah.
So we
I
get the
will
best
give
result
props
possible.
to Trustee Miley. He's got it in there, Brown Township's newsletter that's coming out, so thank
Good.
you, sir.
Good, thank you. Yeah, there is funding available for this, for filling in some of these areas that need service. So it's not just strictly county funding this project. We're funding the study, but there is money available.
The deadline for participation in the survey?
Is December 4th, so we've actually got a full 2 months for it. Yeah, and we'll keep nudging it out there. I don't want people to get tired of hearing from us, but at the same time, we'll continue to pop it out there on social media, so.
I'm thinking that the Ohio Township Association would be a key
Well,
group.
we did send it to everybody, all of the elected officials in the county, townships and municipalities.
Okay,
and
great.
maybe halfway through, if it doesn't, bother them too much, we may send another reminder, depending on what kind of results we're
Sure.
getting at that point. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, again, the Ohio broadband grants are available, and there's some significant dollars available to fund the construction that would be needed to get better service or service at all in some places here in Delaware County. Again, most of the county's in good shape, but we do have pockets, and this is a very important service. So appreciate your leadership on that, Jane.
Yeah, that's really Eric. I'll give him
And
the
Eric.
props, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jennifer, we have a
We have
10:30.
administrator or commissioner committee reports, but we could also recess for your 10:30 meeting and then come back and do executive session at maybe 11.
I'm sorry, what, could you say that again?
You have a 10:30 meeting.
Yes, they were
so
5
we
minutes
could-
late too.
Yeah, we could recess, or you could go with commissioner committee reports.
Why don't we recess?
Okay.
Do we know how long that meeting's gonna take? 15 minutes?
But we could recess till 11, and then if it takes longer.
come back
it's-
in.
And I
Another executive
let's,
session.
I think it's always better to recess a little early,
Yeah,
because
it
we have
could
to
be
wait if we
quick.
got through early, so,
Okay.
could I
So
suggest
we'll be in
10:15?
recess until 11.
No,
Well, let's
No,
do
no,
it a
earlier
little
than that.
earlier. Yeah, maybe,
10:50.
yeah, 10:50. So we can-
Okay,
We can
10:50.
reconvene. If it could go smoothly, we'll see.
Okay, we're in recess.